Good evening and welcome to Macclesfield Town Hall. It is the 2nd of September. The year is racing away as we know it. This is Macclesfield Town Council Services Committee. We're here to go through the agendas printed out in front of us. First of all, we'll take item 1, apologies for absence.
Councillor Sally Livingston.
And item 2, declarations of interest.
I'd like to declare I'm a trustee of CVS Cheshire East in relation to the item on the agenda with their interim report, and also I'm a trustee of the Silk Heritage Trust, and on their proposal I will abstain on the voting.
Any other declarations? No. There are no members of the public, so we'll move straight on to item 3, which is the minutes of the Services Committee. That was held on the 3rd of June 2024, and we are to approve the minutes. Do I propose a Councillor Warren, thank you. Seconder. I'll second them. And then all in favour? And any abstentions or thank you very much, they're carried. Any matters arising from the minutes of the last Services Committee? No? Okay. Item 5 is community, so 5.1 is community engagement update, and we'll also receive the notes of updated report. Assistant Town Clerk.
So our volunteers are still growing in number, so they've been fantastic help over the summer, especially helping with the Do Something Summer events. They've been getting really involved in that. So yeah, we're just keeping recruiting people. People are approaching us to see if they can join the team, which is great. The word is getting out there. We've hosted some work experience students this year, who both have been exceptional. So it's been really a pleasure to have them in the office. Hopefully they'll go on and take those skills that they've learned during the week. The Macclesfield Primary Care Network reached out to us to see that we would help them deliver an event. So I've been attending the meetings for that. It's going to be a town-wide event to just raise awareness on lots of different healthcare issues, helping people to use the NHS app, blood pressure monitoring, menopause advice, the full range of things. So that's going to be on Saturday the 12th of October in different locations in the town centre. So that's quite exciting that we're involved with that.
Thank you very much. Fantastic to hear that we are recruiting more volunteers. With the work that the events officer is planning and the events that we've got going, it's good to see that there is support for the office team, and also fantastic to see that the Primary Care Networks approached us to have another event to try and increase awareness of different medical ailments and issues. Plus it's also nice that this can be spread around the town, because if people have got their set routes then they miss it otherwise. So yeah, fantastic. Any comments or questions at all? Councillor Benwick?
Yeah, I just really welcome the support for the Primary Care Network. They're also doing Know Your Numbers event at the Green Corner on the 5th, on this Thursday morning. So they're doing checking your blood pressure, but there's actual nurses and so on that will be there to give you advice as well. So prevention is often better than cure.
Yes. Okay. So moving on to 5.2, the CVS CE, again to receive the notes of the updated report.
So CVS have been instrumental in supporting the DIB with the difficulties that they've recently faced. So they've been playing a significant part in that. So that has been a big focus of their work since the last Services Committee. But alongside that, they've also been helping you the grant applications and advise on those as well. We've seen quite an increase in micro grant applications, which is good, but they, rather than go to Finance Committee, they're scrutinised straight away. So they go through to Aoife, myself and Laura, and then they go to the appropriate members of the committee or the ward councillors. So CVS have been helping with that too, and they've also been supporting Create with their current restructure of how they're changing their services slightly. So they've been very busy.
Thank you. And again, invaluable help from CBS, not just for us here at the Town Council, but for other organisations around the town as well. Councillor Wilson, sorry.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to hear there's been an increase in micro grant application, because that's always the area I felt that where we can make a greater contribution. Is there any pattern about the sort of grants people are asking for? Perhaps an indication of the type of things? Because that sort of small amount locally into the community can make such a lot of difference.
Yes. I wouldn't say there's a pattern as such with the micro grants. We're definitely seeing more of a pattern with the other grants, but there's a food theme going on. With the micro grants, we've got a current one that's under review for the disco URC, people with disabilities. We've got one for a town guide for what families, things for families to do in the town. So that not really at the minute, I would say. But I can keep monitoring that definitely, if there's a pattern.
Anybody else? No? Okay. So item 6 is local service delivery, and we've got 6.1 is the events update, which includes footfall data. I'll hand over to the events officer.
Yes, so we folded the footfall data into this, so we'll bounce backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
And Town Centre Manager. So it has been a busy summer, so I'll try and speed things up a little bit. The first 2 events of the summer were externally organised events that we supported. So there was Party in the Pews, and there was MacPow. There's reports attached for both of those. Both very well attended, great feedback from both of them, and lovely feedback from the organisers regarding the support that they received. They were particularly appreciative. I don't know if you have any insight about football, Abby?
No.
Yeah. I would say Party in the Pews, because it takes place sort of outside of the town centre, it doesn't tend to impact the football per se, but what you do see is that there's an increase in bookings in the hotels, and so it affects the economy in those sorts of ways. MacPow, yeah, it did go up, and it was reported to be very busy in town that day. I think having Marks and Spencer and some big flags that go outside the building, and they seemed to really draw people in. And apparently the town hall was busy and buzzy and very lively, which is very nice. So, yes, there's nice reports from those. If you read that. 1261. It was big, it was popular, it was very well attended. Yeah, it was a bit of a blur, to be honest. So people tell me they had a good time, and there was lots going on. I think we had a nice variety of things happening over the day. This is about Saturday mainly. Lots of different things for young people, things for older people. A really nice mix. It was, I think my particular favourite was working with the Max Sketchers, seeing what they produced, and they had lots of extra people just going around town sketching, and you could see them around. And that was particularly joyful. The parade was lovely. Artspace did a fantastic job of coordinating that, and again, people really came out for it, and it was very well received. The after party, again, it's a different demographic for us, and it's a demographic that we want to make sure isn't ignored, so it was nice that we could sort of engage Jolos to take over that part of it and reach that audience that we don't necessarily have the capacity to reach ourselves. So that was really nice, and yeah, it seemed to be a successful weekend, good feedback and good football. And
Sorry,
I was going to say, I can pause or I can crack on with do something summer.
The part of the funding for 1261 After Park, well, the funding for it came from the UK Shared Prosperity Fund through Cheshire East. There was 5,000 that paid for that, and we have obviously fed back on that feedback. But as you can see in the report, I think that some of the, our businesses have done quite well out of that 5,000 that we engaged Choosemak to do that, and it would be interesting to see what other uses of that money came up with, because I think what we've got is real tangible footfall, we've got real tangible, this is how these it helped these businesses, and it'd be interesting to see how the other money was used by other event holders. So it's something to think about for next year though, if we wanted to repeat it, that we did get outside funding to support that little bit of it. So we potentially won't have that again. Oh, and I've nominated 1261 Festival for a Marketing Cheshire award on best new festival or something, so we'll see.
Fingers crossed on that. Would you like to discuss the footfall figures, or are you happy as...
I'm happy that you can all read.
That's why I just thought I'd give you the opportunity as the Town Centre Manager. Again, the events that we've had so far, I know Do Something to has only just happened, it wasn't the report, but it was fantastic to see. I was able to make the Saturday parade, the 1261 Festival. Fantastic to see what was going on. It was great to see top end of Churchill Way, also where it splits, having a bit of a street party, the drawings on the wall as well. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And the feedback shows that it was the same. Any other comments or questions about the event? I'll take Councillor anyway, then Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, I think it's thanks to the team for organising these events and supporting different groups to hold events in the town, the town centre. And I think what people really need to realise is that town centres are changing, and we can increase footfall with these type of events. And you know, I think really that Macclesfield Town Centre is what a good one looks like, to use a teaching term, is a good example to other town councils and councils of how well that public money is spent on increasing footfall into a town centre. And people need to realise that it's not the council doesn't own the shops. If the shops close down, that's a business model, that's internet shopping and so on. But by using the town centre for other activities and bringing people together, it gives a sense of community. And I think we do that very well in Macclesfield. And I know it might sound like I'm blowing our own trumpet, but I just want people to recognise that we've really thought about how to spend the money wisely, and for people to afford to go to free events and enjoy them. There's something for everybody there, especially through the school holidays with a free bus service, and something for the children to do. Getting the deck chairs out, which I told the world and its mother are painted in Macclesfield. But that's really good, and I'm glad that you've put us through for an award. And I think moving forward that you know, it's really good for tourism and stuff, that it's a good place to live and work and play. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, I think Councillor Bennett-Waite makes a really important point that is often missed when people are complaining about the town centre. And I think that I feel quite encouraged recently that when people have been complaining, others have been saying, well, what about the free events and what about this? And people are you know, countering some of the negativity about the town centre. However much we like living in a market town, certainly when I was much younger, there was markets all over the place in Macclesfield. It isn't like that anymore, and no town is. If you travel around, you see that all town centres are struggling, and certainly I think Macclesfield's making a really good go of creating a vibrant town centre. The reason I put my hand up was to comment on the footfall figures, which are really key because they are how we can test our activities in terms of the town centre not being dead. I mean, I came into town on Sunday morning for an event, and it was really busy on Sunday morning. There was a lot of people out and about. But one thing that jumps out at me with these figures are the footfall figures, where there's actually a parade or more things happening across the town, that they are quite a lot higher. I don't want to criticise other events, but if you compare you know, a location in one place event with a footfall of about 10,000, then you look at the parade, you know, the 1261 parade, the Mac Pride parade, you're getting to the sort of 15,000 footfall. The feedback I get from residents on my ward, which is one of the most deprived wards in the country, let alone in Cheshire East, is that the difference it makes for people to be able to attend free events and be able to travel on the bus services into town for free is really meaning that people can have a day out with their family. And I think that it's really important that, you know, that we know we did have some shared prosperity fund monies, and as the clerk knows, that was we hard fought for that, and we have used those funds well. And any evidence we have of this nature where we've shown that we have made a difference to the business success in the town gives us a stronger argument when there are further funds to bid for. So it's great to have the evidence, which we do have increasingly every year when we organise the free events, and levels of positivity that you see in the town. I mean, we haven't discussed Do Something Summer specific.
Just yes.
You're going to say that next, are you?
Will do, yes.
I shall shut up and wait for my turn.
Just to come back, I mean, obviously you mentioned about the increased footfall and people getting out. I think also massive kudos to the town council staff to be able to market them with the Corrix boards and all the other advertising through social media. There's radio, there's all sorts of different ways that we're getting out to people. And also, it's one of those where I think it's on people's minds. It happened last year, so they're thinking, right, where can I find out for next year or this year? So, as you say, you know, we are blowing our own trumpet, and I think we are. We're proud to be able to say, you know, this is what we're doing, and free events, increase the footfall to the town centre, to support businesses as much as we can.
Just briefly touching on Pride, they're submitting a full report for finance, but they did just want to throw in a few words just again to say thank you, and just to say how well it went and how happy they were with how it went. And again, you can see it's always well supported, Pride in Bath, which is really brilliant for a town this size. I think it's amazing. And yeah, you'll see the footfall again speaks for itself. It was a huge jump. And it was I can't remember what the weather was like for Pride, but but people come out, so yeah, it was a good day. And like I say, they will be submitting a full report a bit later. And then Do Something Summer, which hasn't finished but has now finished. It was very popular this year. We definitely saw an increase from last year. Last year was busy, but it was you know, slow, steady numbers. We thought, oh, maybe there's more people on holiday. This year, I'd say they all doubles. They were all much more. You know, we saw a lot more people. We saw people come in at just before 11 o'clock, so they were there when it started, and some people stayed all day. The climbing wall, yeah, they had about 800 users using the climbing wall over the day. There was queues all day. The organisers, the climbing wall people, they stayed a bit longer just so they got the last few kids could have a go. So everyone who wanted to go could have a go. The robot walls, again, 600. So it was a lot. Like again, every contractor that we booked to come and do this, they all commented on how busy it was and how it was the busiest that they've seen, and how they weren't expecting numbers that high for a town this size, and all of that. So we shocked a few people, which is good. That's what we want to do. And yes, lovely feedback. The weather was up and down, but we managed to do every event that we wanted to do this summer. And then we just got to start thinking about what we're going to do next year.
You've got a few months, shall we say, to get your cane caps on. Again, Do Something Summer. I was only able to attend a couple of them. But again, it seemed that the group of people were excited to crash robots and do the bits and bobs. Councillor Wilson.
I just wanted to say that I thought that the idea is very innovative. It got lots of coverage on social media. And you mentioned yourself, Chair, about the Corrix, the Corrix boards. I think that's a really good way. They were commented upon, and they were quite durable in the end. They've lasted very well, and there were some outside the shops on my ward, and I think that's great to get them out into the wards as well, because you know, there's always going to be someone who didn't hear or didn't know something was happening. But I think that is a really good way of getting the message across. I had to be restrained from going on the climbing wall.
Sarah wasn't around for that one, so I was
Saying nothing.
Just about something I thought about the carriage boards, as I was doing the letter pick for Davefall, Green and Blue, I noticed Cheshire East had put some up Castle Street,
Yeah.
so they've taken all our model, bit more advertising.
Success had many
Can I just throw in one more thing?
Yes, of course you can.
It's not in here because it was agreed since this went to. So we're looking ahead now to the autumn and winter events. So we discussed in the last services that Tree of Light, we were going to look at examining that because for the past few years the weather has really not been on our side for that. And it's been partly that and partly looking at who the audience is for that event and if we are hitting the audience that we've been trying to hit. It's supposed to be an event for people who have experienced loss or grief at Christmas. And it was turning into slightly more of a school concert kind of vibe because it was mostly parents and carers of the children in the choir, and that was slightly overpowering the people who actually wanted to come for that. So we've taken some time, we've had a look at it, we've had some discussions with other people around town, and what we're going to sample this year, what we're going to trial this year is we keep doing the stars, because the stars are incredibly popular, people really do connect with that, so those will keep going out to the DIC, to St Mike's, around the Salt Museum, they go around town, they go to all the schools. So those will still go out and they will go on the tree. For the ceremony this year, what we're going to do is we're going to join forces with the hospice, East Chester Hospice, with their Light of the Life ceremony. And we're going to support them in that ceremony and direct people to that who want that ceremony, that sort of time and quiet space to reflect. And we're going to direct them that way so that they get what they need from it. We are supporting them financially, which we feel is a better use of our funding than having to put on an event that we then have to cancel for the weather and not necessarily doing what we want to do. So that's what we're going to trial this year and see what feedback we get from that, and hopefully that will better serve the audience and give them a better experience. So that's what we're going to try.
Just to note on that, that's been held at the United Reformed
URC.
Church.
Yeah. So it's still town centre.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments or questions, sorry, about the do something somewhere about Pride? No? Okay. So 6.2 is the floral displays. The rangers have been quite busy. Northwest in bloom, all
I don't know if Abby wants to do
Yeah. I was going to say that we're on the last year of our, hopefully I can't believe it already, but the last year of our ANZA agreement, floral agreement, but we have got a year to where we can extend it for a year. So this will be coming up later because it will be next spring. But because we're working with Cheshire East on a project called My Comfort, there will be some changes to the town centre. Nothing significant, nothing, but more things like we're looking at changing the plastic 3-tier planters for something more durable, more classic, to fit in with the town. And from that point of view, it might be better to extend it with ANZA for a year so we can all work together to do it, and then look at putting a tender out when we're kind of very clear of what we're asking, because it might be that all the 3-tier planters go, and it'd be difficult to put a tender out when we don't really know specifically what we're doing. But My Comfort is, we had a walk with the Regen team, and they've got ideas to change the benches on Mill Street to the ones that match Castle Street, more festoons, taking some of the clutter out, where there's barriers that don't need, that should be there, or lampposts that are extra that don't need to be there. So it'll be that kind of project and thing that they're doing, rather than any sort of roadworks or anything major. As you'll know, Britain in Bloom came on the 20th of August. We'll have to wait now, but everything seems to go okay. Main's done a massive job. There was a community litter pick as well. We'd added in Victoria Park this year, so ANZA did get involved, come down, meet the judges, etc. And yeah, just still looking for ideas like the planters on Cadover Street, just to pick out bits that we, our rangers can manage and our volunteers can help with. we had volunteers down at the railway station planting, and we're looking at doing, we did little bits. There's a little triangle opposite the cenotaph, and it's on the corner of Park Lane, isn't it? And that was one of the things the judge had noticed last time. So we just got volunteers to plant, and it's just those little tiny bits that aren't huge, but volunteers like to look after. And actually, they make quite a bit of difference when people walk past. So yeah, that's all floral displays for the town.
Any questions or comments? No, I was just fingers crossed for the awards, which is
October, November, yeah.
so see if we can increase on our triple goal winning performances. So 6.3 is festoons. There is something to consider, so we've got an additional cost outlined in the report. I can hand over to the assistant town clerk to some more information.
So linking in with what Laura's just mentioned, so the Mac on Foot project from the regeneration team at Cheshire East Council, they approached us to ask about the feasibility of putting festoon lights down Chestergate, bearing in mind that that is where our Christmas lights go each year. So we've spoken to our lighting provider, who've confirmed it is possible to use the same anchor points and it won't compromise the safety. So we inquired about the cost. So now this would be an annual cost because it involves a bit more intricate work to put the lights up around the the existing festoons. So the additional cost each year would be £775 plus VAT. Obviously that's how it stands at the moment, but it's a long-term commitment if that's what we want to do. So the regeneration team have asked if we would consider it, and so we're bringing it to the committee for consideration.
Okay, thank you. Anybody got any questions or information required? Or proposal? Councillor?
Can I just ask, will they stay up, will the festoons come down when the Christmas decorations go up, or will they all be up together?
They'll all be all together. So there should be a visual, just a little bit lower down under the text. It's on its side, unfortunately, but that's how it would look. So they would remain up together. So it would make quite an impression visually.
Both be on at the same time?
Yes. Yeah.
And then the festoons would be on their own. With the funding they've got from Mac on Foot, they can only, which you're probably aware, pay for capital fund. They can't put anything away for revenue. So they will pay for the installation of the lights, everything like that. It's the ongoing costs that need to, basically, that they're asking for us to think, for the committee to consider.
Councillor Wilson.
Yes, I'll move that we agree to the additional cost of £775 plus VAT to install Christmas lights around the festoons on Chestergate.
Seconded.
Thanks very much, Councillor Barber. I think that we get very good feedback about the Christmas lights. I think that there is, it makes the town tend to look lovely over the Christmas period. It adds to the improvements that we're making as a town council, and we are about to renegotiate the contract for the Christmas lights for the next 3 years. You'll recall that full council's agreed a working party to do that, and so we can make sure that this is included going forward. And I think if we do it as a package thing, I would have thought we could probably get a cheaper price for the whole package for the next 3 years going forward. So I accept the point that's being made that this is a every year cost, but it's an additional cost for this year, and then in the future I think we can include it as part of the process, and I think that should, on those economies of scale, we may be able to, get it for a more inclusive price for the whole thing, rather than have to add bits on, if that makes sense.
Thank you. So we've got a proposer and a seconder. All those in favour? Unanimous and carried. Any timescale when the festoons will be installed, or just as and when?
So now it's been confirmed, I'll go back to the regeneration team and let you know, and then I'll update you all when we've got a date.
Thank you very much. Moving on, we've got item 6.4, which is the Silk Museum proposal. And again, there's something to action in relation to the proposal outlined. Is there anybody to...
Sure, I mean, obviously already, I'm aware we already support the Silk Museum, £20,000 a year to support the fundraising. This came during conversations where, as you'll know, our events, we've tried to include other places to go. So like the Lantern Parade, you could go and make your lanterns down there, and that gave them footfall of 400 or 500 people that they didn't have. And they didn't know how to turn that. Well, it's not they didn't know, we were discussing how do you turn that into meaningful income. And the discussion was, well, you need to make it easy for people to give money. And they have a donation box. I wasn't sure where it was, I still can't picture where it is, but it came up about the, you could tap your card. So they put some funding in to, I think it's the Heritage something, and it needed some match funding. So they asked if we would support with one, and they would support with two. So there'd be 3 altogether, 1 in Paradise and 2 round the Silk Museum. So it's the cost of the box, etc., and then they would obviously pay the ongoing cost year after year. We would want to monitor how it is working, basically, and with the view that, and this is just something I've suggested, that if it wasn't working, we could potentially take it back and put it somewhere else where it might work. Because we work with lots of charities, organisations where other donations might work. So we could see if it worked down there, and so it was just a consideration around that, trying to give them a more sustainable income, really.
We're in a society where cash is slowly on the decline. I know some places are looking to boost cash payments, but you know, if people have got a card or Apple Watch or any other device to be able to pay by contactless, it gives them the instant donation. Anybody got any other questions or comments or
Thanks, Chair. I've got a comment. It's not a concern, it's just an observation really that we're giving a significant amount of money over the next 3 years to the Silk Museum. And while I get we're match funding, that funding that we've already given was to help them get onto a financial sound footing. I am comfortable with the proposal for buying the machine. Paying for a year cost, is that something we should be paying for? I'm not sure. It's not a lot of money, so it's just rather to make my point rather than speak against it. We just need to be careful what we are paying for and whether we're paying twice. That's my views. Okay.
I totally understand that the 20,000 was for to go for grants and bids and look at financial sustainability, and out of that 20,000 is planning, and this has come out of that, if you get what I mean. This is like the next step towards it, so that's kind of why they may see it as slightly different. I know towards it's just money to the Silk Museum.
Yeah, you just said that money was to get them grants.
Well, that was for them to write grants, get bids in, etc., which it's really helped, and they've been successful, and to look at more financial sustainability. And after looking at that and discussing with others, that this is the outcome of those discussions, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
to try and make them.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm along with it.
Opposite, for sure.
comments or questions or Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, I can't tell from the paper, are they mobile? Can they be moved around to different locations in the museum, or once they're installed, are they fixed in that location?
I believe that they would be fixed, but they could be moved, if that makes sense. You might, they're on a stand, so you might leave them in a certain position for a while, but you could still move them somewhere else, but you don't sort of carry them around, they're on a stand thing. So it might, I would have thought they'd have to see where they put them to get the best.
This one is St Michael's, and it's on a stand, so you can move, as long as there's a power supply, I believe,
Yeah.
you can
Yes.
manoeuvre it.
just to, at the moment they're looking to trial it by the entrance, which is where the current cash one is.
Is, yeah.
However, the view is if that doesn't work, they'll place it more strategically around the museum, because they want to try and basically have it so that when people exit the shop or enter the shop, it's sort of near there more, so it can be moved at a later date if it doesn't work.
Anybody else? Councillor Wilson.
Well, I'm happy to move the proposal that we fund a total of £2,610 for an additional, for a third device from the Heritage Compass Business Support for Macclesfield for the Silk Museum. If it's seconded, I'll just say a few words.
Okay. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Wake.
Yes, I mean, I recently went into the Silk Museum to look at the football exhibition, Macclesfield Football Club exhibition, which is really good. Very, very interesting indeed. And I think having a device like this in that area, where it's a new part of the museum that's really very relevant to, well, obviously silk manufacturing is relevant to our heritage. I think that the caveat we've got with this, I mean, I share Councillor Warren's comments that we have already made a significant service level agreement with the Silk Museum. But I think for me, what tips it for me is that we are going to be able to get information to monitor the donations that are coming through, and if it doesn't particularly add to the two that are there already, from what I'm reading in the paperwork, we could relocate it to another charity or venue. So we're basically having a trial period with a device that could, in fact, if necessary, be moved to another location. It does seem to be the way that museums and places of this, you know, like that, cultural areas are going down, because, you know, it's almost impossible to pay by cash for anything these days. You know, it's just get your phone out and tap. I think it's certainly worth doing a year's worth of. That doesn't say how long we're going to evaluate it for, does it? I guess it doesn't say. There's a 12-month service fee, so let's assume it's going to be a year. But I would like to see the figures come back to us to be able to evaluate that. Not least that part of our decision is that we may relocate it, but I will be interested to know how well it works.
Thank you. So proposed by Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Wake. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Thank you. That's carried. So item 7 is leisure and outdoor activities, and 7.1 parks and play areas.
So the South Park Trim Trail, I was assured back when I wrote this that it was the next job on Answer's list. When the election came up, they have to move everything around, so it's quite a big job for them. So it could even be being done as
It is.
yeah. So that will be in place soon, and then with the park run markers, it's just getting a bit more tied in with the pavilion build now, because if it needs to change or etc. But the money's there, they know what they're doing, and they're hopefully contacting Park Run or Councillor Wilson to check about, you know, right now we've got the new demised area, if Park Run might need to just be slightly changed around that.
Yes.
Any comments or questions about parks?
The whole section.
Sorry, so
The Ashgrove Park as well.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke at length and with great emotion at full council about the Ashgrove Park situation. So just to update that, I will be talking to the mayor about getting a date that he can come and do the opening for us. I'm just a little bit disappointed that we did say we would look at the Titherington Pilot Services if we could.
Yes.
If you remember, and I'm not criticising anybody.
Yes.
But when the paperwork came to full council, the proposal for Titherington were very thin, shall we say, in terms of the information, and it wasn't what I'd been used to having in the past, we'd been used to having in the past. And I did suggest it come to the services committee so we could avoid having any delay, but obviously it isn't ready, so,
They've got it, Amanda hadn't got it ready by then,
right.
unfortunately. So
Okay.
it's on full council.
No, I know it is, it's
yeah.
just that,
Yeah, they had, we only got the actual final report last week. We didn't get it in time, unfortunately.
okay. I have had a number of inquiries from residents about this, actually people have come to Park Run, who've come and spoke to me about it, so I did say to them that when it was going to be discussed at council, I would let them know in case he wants to come and speak in the public speaking section.
Okay.
So I will, I'll keep you updated.
Wow.
Any other comments? No. 7.2 is the South Park Pavilion.
So we're in the middle of procurement, so that's probably all I can say about that.
No, fair enough. Any comments about the South Park Pavilion? No. 7.3 playing out.
Yeah.
Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, we had the nicest day of the year for our playing out session, which was on Lime Avenue outside the St Barnabas Church. It was another very successful session. The events officer joined myself and Councillor Puddicombe, and we between us did the road closures and kept the streets safe. There was community was out in force, kids were there, parents were there. It's really, really brilliant, and the sun shone, so we were very happy.
Any questions to Councillor Wilson about a successful playing out?
Well, it was a very much a team effort, but
Do apologise.
well, Create also were involved as well. I mean, I think perhaps what's on my feet, so to speak, I would like to say that people who do watch and listen to the meetings afterwards, there's a number of us trained, and we've done a number of training courses for people who qualified to close roads, and there is an expense in doing that, and therefore an expectation that people do assist in road closures. And that's what myself and Councillor Puddicombe have done. But despite the significant effort put in by the Assistant Town Clerk, we haven't been able to get anybody else to do a playing out session. And they're really good. And I was being asked whether anybody else was doing it, because we did quite a lot of social media last time. But I would just encourage people to think about having a playing out session, because it's really, really successful. You know, everyone was playing around in the street, it was all very safe, and there's loads and loads of games to play, and it only needs 2 or 3 people to help close the roads. You know, it's not like it's a massive thing to do. I mean, the road closure notices have to be done in good time, but we've got a procedure in place for us to do that. So I really would encourage playing out. It's a really, really important, it's the sort of thing that I could do when I was a kid without having a road closure or, you know, anything like that. We just played out, but now you do need to keep people safe also.
Thank you. 7.5 is the, sorry, moving on a bit too quick. 7.4 is the allotments.
Yeah, so we've been carrying out monthly site inspections, which has been a big increase, and as a result of that we've seen a big improvement in the standard of the plots. Obviously as part of that as well, some plot holders have had to give the plots, or, you know, been following the process to address any issues. That has created some vacant plots. So although it says in this report all the vacant plots are now full, we've since had 3 tenants leave. So, but we've got a waiting list, so we've got people ready to view the plots and show some people around this week. So yeah, thank you to Councillor Warren as well for his training on site inspection.
Well, the knowledge there, Councillor Warren.
Just be a bit toughening up.
Any other comments about the allotments? No. Okay. So 7.5 is now street sports.
Yeah, so obviously we appointed the new provider in April. So sessions are going well. The most popular one is Jasmine Park. South Park, the numbers are slightly on the low side, so we've been doing some things to try and address that. So we've done a leaflet drop with the schools, and we'll do that. We'll want to keep monitoring the numbers, and if we need to do more leaflet drops, we will. And we're also, the communications officer's also working with me to try and create a reel, to try and advertise what we do and say, come along, come and join in. So we're, obviously, we need to get parental permission for that. So it takes a little bit longer than just rocking up and doing a video. So yeah, that's all. We're just trying to promote it more.
Brilliant. it's good to see that numbers are strong. Obviously, as you mentioned, South Park. It's a bit of a surprise really because the amount of people that are in South Park and Parkfit, and that's been in the park as well. Parents bringing children. There's been a suggestion, I do believe. Is there any information on kind of what sports, or is it just a general mix of everything? Or?
It's a bit of a mix. So it's, you know, things like football, cricket, games like mainly ball games, I guess. So yeah, we have talked about, obviously because Parkfit's on at the same time, about, you know, could people bring their children, but there's issues there with safeguarding and things.
Yeah.
So we just need to make sure we thought it through properly before we do anything like that. But yeah, it's a possibility.
Councillor Burton?
Yeah, I noticed in the report it said there was glass on the mugger at Banbury Park, and that was 2 weeks on the run. Do the coaches who run the sessions, do they know who to report issues like that to? Because I didn't get any reports.
So they reported it to myself,
Yeah,
and I reported it to ANSA,
yeah,
who went to clean it up. As far as I can understand, it was a repeated incident rather than the same.
yeah.
But obviously we don't know for sure, but that's as far as the information we have suggests. So yes, they do now. I've explained the process and everything, but yeah, they reported it to me.
Thanks very much.
Any other comments on street sports? No. Okay, item 7.6 is Park Fit.
Yes, so you've already mentioned that obviously numbers for street sports were down a little bit in South Park. Numbers for Park Fit have also been down a little bit over the summer, and actually I think all but one of the Park Fit sessions has had to take place under the bandstand this year because it has rained the entire, from Easter till they broke up, whereas last year it was absolutely baking hot. They were on the grass every week, and it was lovely. But this year the weather has just been not very good, and I think that has really affected people coming out to do it. And the same with the kids. I think to do street sports, it's not really what you want to do. It's not fun. But Parkfit will return to the park this Thursday. We've got a few weeks before sort of autumn hits properly, and then we move indoors to All Hallows during autumn winter, and then come spring we'll just have to see how much space the pavilion works is taking up as to whether we can still go ahead at the bandstand area or whether we have to maybe move that slightly in South Park. But yeah, it's all still going ahead and good.
Any comments about Park Fit? No. Okay. Item 7.7 is the summer schools.
Yeah, so record number of children registered for summer schools this year. 49 children were supported by the town council to attend summer schools that ordinarily they wouldn't have been able to attend. This year we had quite a lot of referrals from social services, but also lots from schools too. And we also this year offered a dance workshop with Silk Dance. So that was we've got the multi-sports, we just wanted to try something different. Generally, more children went for the multi-sports anyway, but it was good to be able to offer something else. And we are trying to get some feedback from the families, and there's a sample of a comment in the report, but we are trying to get some additional feedback.
Thank you. Any comments or questions about street sports?
I mean, the summer schools is offered to vulnerable children and families who might not. It's invaluable that the council put budget towards this, I think. It's like 50 children who's...
Do we have a breakdown of the locations of residence of the children?
We do take their postcodes, yes, so
Yeah.
we can get that information. So yeah, as Laura said, it's increased, the demand has definitely increased this year. So I think it's worth considering that when we're setting the budgets for next year, that to make sure we've got provision to be able to provide. Because I think it's definitely valued in the community.
Sorry, Councillor White.
Yeah, just to echo the officers are saying that it is invaluable because the children that have been referred from social services and from schools, they've been identified by professionals as in need, and that combined with the other activities that we've done, hopefully will bring the children and their families out a bit more and feel a bit more confident, and you know, it's not that much money around, and I think it's a good thing to consider for next year.
So moving on to agenda item 8, which is street scene, and 8.1 is public realm.
Public realm is very similar as I speak to flowers. So it mentions again the Mac and Foot, Britain and Bloom, which has been previously reported in 6. The Rangers have done up the big huge planters outside Sovereign Court. We contacted the owner of Sovereign Court and he sort of said do what you want type thing, but I think it brightens the street up, and volunteers planted that. And you know, if it gets people to maybe look at, I think he's going to make offices or something in Sovereign Court, so it encourages businesses to come, etc. And the other kind of area in town we get asked about a lot is the bit outside Lucerne, where you would have the steps. And we know that Cheshire East are working on planning enforcement with them, etc. We have tried to make contact with them, we've not actually successfully got to a person yet, with the view that if they clear it up, we might be able to make a little pockety park or something, make something nice of it, to sort of see if we can work together with them so that it's not just left like that. So yeah, most of the public realm, like I say, is in flowers with the Mac on Foot. Just to know as well, there's areas of Mill Street they're looking to sort of raise and put grass bits on, which you'll still, you know, like round, I don't know, the curvy bit, I want to call it a chicane, but that's like a race course, but you know, where the curves stick out around there, they want to sort of maybe make it more grass bounce. Cars can still go down, but it'll just look so much more welcoming and green, and that's the plan that they have. They've got to do all this by the end of March 2025, so we'll see how far that we get with them.
Thank you. Any comments in relation to public realm? Okay, item 8.2, touched on it previously, further report from the Town Rangers.
Yeah, I mean they've been working really hard on preparing for Britain in Bloom. But alongside that, they've been doing all the stuff that they'd usually do as well. So they've been working really hard, responding to requests from the public, and also helping to set up for events, things like that, and signage. They've been big support with the allotments, continuing the inspections and things, and the maintenance. So yes, very busy.
Comments or questions in relation to Town Rangers? Item 8.3 is the 01625 gallery. Once again, talking about 2 unloved photo boxes previously that have now been brought back to life in various ways.
Yeah, I mean the Boleyn Valley boxes previous installation was really popular. We had some really lovely feedback about that, and lots of people, when I was doing a Do Something Summer day in town centre, would come up to me and say, oh, what's that over there? So that was just from being outside one day, so it must be so popular. It has moved into its next phase, which is the stained glass, which is beautiful. So if you haven't seen it, if anyone's watching, go and have a look, because it's lovely. And that'll be there till November, and then it'll be a public call for art, so like an exhibition in the boxes over Christmas.
Is that going to be festive themed or?
I don't know yet.
Do not know.
No. So,
A few weeks to think about it then possibly.
possibly not, because it will continue into the new year, but we'll see.
Any comments or questions in relation to 01625?
Winter theme maybe.
Not too cold though. Item 8.4 you see them on the streets?
Again, so this is funded from Cheshire East Council through UK Shared Prosperity Fund. We have a map of where the boards are going now, which we've added. We've tried to be use as much as we could that was existing. We know that installing new installations are difficult. Councillor Warren's just had a new notice board.
Is that eventually?
Well, how long did it take roughly?
3 maybe,
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, so because we've got to deliver this by the end of March, we had to be more creative about what we used. So the 3 light boxes at Park Green, which Cheshire East bought a couple of years ago with other funding, and it hasn't been changed since. We can have those. So there's 3 double-sided. They're great. So we can do lots with them, and they'll be hopefully easier to replace. We've identified boards and places around the town that are either really old and tatty and need replaced or aren't being used. For instance, there's a big board that used to be the Mac Express board at the beginning of Chestergate, and it's outside where it used to be the Royal Bank of Scotland. There's a bench and there's a big board on the wall. So we're going to use that board as a kind of welcome to Chestergate board type thing. So we've identified places which, fingers crossed, should be easy. So we've minimised it to 2 installations of boards, 1 on Castle Street and 1 somewhere at the bottom of Mill Street. Hopefully, if they put the grassy area in, you see, it'll be easier to put it in the grass than into the actual road. So everybody's on board, the consultants, we've got a designer, and they're all working as a team. We've done community engagement, got loads of interesting quirky facts about Macclesfield. Like somebody tried to drive up the 108 steps the wrong way, and in the paper the next week somebody asked what make and model of the car they had because their car wouldn't do it. So it just goes to show, just these interesting little snippets, and I just think it's a real opportunity here for, these little interesting facts about our hometown that, beyond the sort of normal kind of staid looking heritage board. Again, this has to be delivered by March 25, so yeah, it all should be spent. We've got a lovely social media campaign going alongside of it. It's got its own Facebook page, Macclesfield Museum Street, its own Instagram, its own TikTok, which social media Emma Welland is doing for us, who's so yeah, I'm working with Abby on that, and that's kind of non-council. So it's interesting to see how people relate. I don't know how polite people are on that one. But how people relate, even though it's a council project, we've not announced it as a council project. So yeah, it's all well, yeah, if people are watching, but yeah, but it's a lovely project to be involved with, and hopefully it'll be something that when it's up, kids can go around in schools. We're having the little panda. It'll be a kind of spot the panda. There'll be a downloadable worksheet to go with it. But there's going to be a music board outside the Joy Division mural in the Pocket Park. The panda there might have headphones on or be on. But it's just, we've tried to make it as engaging as possible for the people who live here and for visitors, and and hopefully it might be able to extend where we can lead people then to go and walk into our wider town in parks, etc. So hopefully this is the beginning.
So we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
Any comments or questions in relation to using on the street? No? Okay, thank you. Moving on, agenda item 9 is a town centre regeneration. We'll start with 9.1 town centre free Wi-Fi data.
Yeah, so we discussed probably about a year ago that the users of Wi-Fi was decreasing, and it didn't look like it was being used anywhere near as much as it had originally. We started some more promotion in March this year. Social media posts, posters in high traffic areas, and it looks like that may have helped, because we've seen some biggish jumps. So April this year versus April last year, it roughly stayed the same. May, compared to May last year, there was a 4% increase. It jumped by a 34% increase in June, and then July was a 10% increase as well. So we've definitely seen an upturn in the usage of the free town centre Wi-Fi, which is very easy to log on and do. And there'll be, for example, when we put these boards up around town for the Museum on the Street project, there will be a little thing telling you about the free Wi-Fi. So if you need to go on anything that you might need to go on to participate and engage, then you'll be able to do that.
9.2 is town centre sign. Oh, sorry, any questions? No. So yeah, 9.2, the town centre signage.
Yep.
Ongoing.
Still ongoing, yeah. We are moving forward with it though. So there had been plans originally to have a small hanging sign at the top of Church Street. We're now looking into the option of replacing that with a mural above the wall, a mural on the wall above Armageddon Tattoo Shop, which will say, "Welcome to the Castle Quarter." The landlord has agreed to do that. We're just waiting on a design, which is being done free of charge, and then we can look into the costs of doing that. With regard to the archway, which we wanted between the old Thomas Cook shop and, I'm going to say Peacocks, it's still stuck. The wheels of Cheshire East are grinding very slowly on this one. However, when we met with the Regen officer for Cheshire East to do our walk around a couple of weeks ago, we discussed it with him. He was quite, enthusiastic about it. So he's going to escalate it within Cheshire East. So we may get a solution to that very soon. With regards to the railway station, I met with Councillor Wilcock and Councillor Barber there in May to discuss the use of the poster board on platform 1. They were quite happy to give us 1 million poster boards down there, posters as far as the eye can see. So they get dropped off, posters now get dropped off down at the railway station. Hopefully people who are commuting in from, Stockport, Manchester into Mac to work will see those posters and then decide, come back at the weekend. So fingers crossed that will bring in more footfall from outside of the town as well.
Thank you very much. Hard work and dedication again in relation to projects that we've requested and still ongoing or awaiting outcomes. Anybody questions or comments? About the town centre signage? No? Okay. 9.3 is the Community Transport Subcommittee.
I'll do that. Yes, obviously we haven't met over some period because it's just been a bit of a mad summer, but we're hopefully meeting at the end of October now, so that's where we can sort of take things forward. Obviously, we've not got the figures yet about the free bus days. From what I've heard, it's been really positive, but I think the town clerk, you've been working to get the figures, and I think we've made some sort of breakthrough, haven't we? I know that's frustrating, and it's a bit disappointing it's taken so much effort to get them when we're paying money, and I think it's something we're definitely going to look into, hopefully making sure that we're getting the data a bit quicker, but hopefully we'll get some positive results from that. I've also sort of, through social media and through speaking to people, I've had some sort of extra anecdotal feedback around the quality of the services and the reliability on the free bus days. So I think the number 3 bus was flagged a few times at one of them recently where it didn't turn up. So that's another thing we can hopefully feed back to D&G about that, because it's quite important. So yeah, that's free bus days. Also in the report it just mentioned Catch the Bus month, so that is a month-long thing which we're now in the middle of for the whole of September, with Bus Users UK running it. So they're the alternative dispute resolution body who basically do lots of advocacy for bus users, and I've got a good relationship with them through work. So they run this month. It's been really positive so far. Lots of stakeholders across the north taking part, and I've been speaking to them to try and get us on board. So you get some giant red foam hands, which I believe will hopefully be arriving soon. So Abby, you can
I think there's something to do with them.
I've had some at work. They are as weird as they sound, and there was a lot of very confused faces when 2 giant red hands arrived in our office. So you get that to look forward to soon. So just further, their theme for this year is accessibility, which is something that is growing on the agenda of public transport. It's something I'm very passionate about. So hopefully we can all as councillors make sure that we're advocating to make sure that every single member of the public is able to use public transport, because it's a lifeline for our community. So I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully how we can engage with the next few weeks of that campaign and go from there.
Thank you. Anybody got any comments or questions about the council meeting?
I think the free bus service for all events and so on are really great, but also I'd just like to highlight the Saltown bus ticket. It's a project with Cheshire East, and it's £12 a week, unlimited travel, weekday travel. And again, I'd just like to echo that accessibility with a lot of people using wheelchairs or other devices to get around. It's so important we have those kneeling buses and the poles not in the wrong place and things like that, that it needs to be accessible for everybody, as well as drop curbs, which is a recent bugbear. But the Saltown bus ticket is going to be great for the people using the bus.
Yeah.
Councillor Wilson.
Mine was the same point. The Cheshire East is in a project with, it's D&G, High Peak, Amy's Travel and Bellevue, so it's a slightly wider provider than areas of providers than we've been having within our own town. But you know, we've got to get people using public transport. We're not going to solve issues of climate change and you know, congestion and car parking charges and all those other issues unless we actually have public transport systems that people can use. And this is a really positive development, as Councillor Bennett Wake has said. And you know, we get very good positive feedback about the free buses on events days, and we get concerned feedback about the cost of buses when it's not free, whereas £12 a week, I mean, it would be a really useful thing to be able to get to work. You know, that would be make travel to work by bus far more affordable for our residents.
Thank you. Anybody other comments or questions now? Well, thank you very much. Again, just in relation to the bus ticket, I think as you said, it's quite important that Cheshire East are looking at us to have this specialised bus ticket within Macclesfield. Some questions I've noticed on social media, and I don't know if Cheshire East can come out and clarify, but the questions on how far does it reach the range, Councillor Wilson?
Well, Cheshire East have done quite an extensive social media campaign about this. So I mean, look at the Cheshire East Facebook page. I think it is actually a pilot scheme, so it is to see whether it works. We have been. It is a trail zone for us and the surrounding areas, which is why it also includes Amy's Travel in Bellevue. So you know, if people have got questions, ask them, because it's a trial, and it's good that Macclesfield's the trial place for our town.
Okay, so moving on is agenda item 10, which is council identity communication. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I will share the Cheshire East bus ticket on our social media, so it will be on there from tomorrow. So just on our social media channels, again, we are increasing again month on month. It's round about a sort of 3 to 4% increase each time we do one of these services reports. So quite happy with that. Post reach, we've increased by 44,000 in April, and engagement had increased from 9,000 in April. And link clicks, so that's where we've included links to our website and our What's On pages, or the Silk Museum, for example, have increased as well in April. Top posts for each include the summary post for 1261, Transport to Macfest, with regards to the free buses, I think the town clerk sought some clarification on that and shared that with people. And then the full list of our Do Something Summer workshops. Top post in terms of likes and reaction, summary of footfall for 1261, summary of 1261, and the reel for Do Something Summer rock climbing. The Mayor's Facebook page continues to be popular and currently has 736 followers. We're continuing to do feedback forms at all our events. We've tweaked the questions slightly to remind people that the events are free and asked if they spend any money locally as a result. We've got questions that have been added in which are more yes and no so that we can use quantifiable data in future reports. So at some point now that Do Something Summer's finished, we'll be going back through all of those feedback forms just to see what we can pull out from it. We addressed the comments about people not seeing posters in the town centre. As Councillor Wilson mentioned, we've been putting out putting out the trifolds outside shops on the estates, leisure centre, and some of the bigger supermarkets as well. So places that people tend to visit. And they've all worked really well. And as Councillor Wilson pointed out, we've been copied by Cheshire East. We spoke through our printer the other day, and he said we were definitely the first to do them, and now loads of town councils are copying us. So yeah.
Trailblazing ones.
Yeah, exactly. Newsletter continues to be really well received. We've got 127 people signed up. We sent out details about 1261 Festival to the mailing list with a link to the website and the full timetable the day before the rest of the public were able to access it. So that was almost like giving them a sneak peek. The email was opened 170 times. So some people did open it more than once, which is good because it meant they went back and they were double checking it and they were like, oh, you see this. And 76 times people clicked through to our website from the email to read more about it, which is actually a really good sort of return rate. In terms of other marketing, again, you've mentioned we've been doing Silk FM. Schools were sent information about Easter events, free buses. Continue to do articles with the Mac Express, Nug News, Facebook Lives. We've got, as Town Clerk mentioned, street sports leaflets went out to schools. We've put up additional posters in South Park and West Park with regards to street sports, so that people who are attending the park at the weekends can see that when those sessions are. They've all got events set up on the website and social media now for street sports as well, so that people can find that more easily. We put an advert in the Chamber of Commerce magazine. Rachel did a podcast with Darren Antrobus on Silk. One of our volunteers has been putting up some posters for us around town. We've got more banners, more posters. The unit in the Grosvenor Centre looks absolutely fantastic when Rachel's finished with that. And then we've just, as we said, waiting on notice boards, 2 of them in town that will be used with regards to Museum on the Street. They are double-sided, so they will allow us to put more posters on the other side as well, promoting our events and things like that. And that's it. Thank you.
You say it as if it's...
Yeah, that's all.
Again, it's fantastic to see all the hard work that's going into promoting Macclesfield's Town Council through social media. The increases month on month are fantastic to see. And again, we are aware that not everybody uses social media, so to see triboards, to see posters, getting the information out there is great credit to yourself, Abby, and the rest of the team. Anybody comments or questions in relation to the council events and communications? Councillor Barrett?
You can't say you don't know.
You can't, Sarah.
It's on YouTube now. You know where to look. On a lamppost.
Okay, that's it. So that's your agenda completed. Just final item to note is the date, time and place of the next services committee. So that will be held on Monday the 21st of October 2024, 7 o'clock here at the Town Hall. Just want to wish everyone a good evening.